Police warning tonight that that attacker is still on the run. Thanks for being here. I'm Elitsa Bizios. Authorities say the woman was assaulted late Friday. At 5 o'clock, a recent report by the National Center on Family and Homelessness says 1 in 30 children in the U.S. are homeless. Driving through town, you could see there's still some construction going on, like at the home behind us here. Tornado took this home down. Sheriff Neil Williamson calls the evidence problem in Sangamon County a serious one, and it's one that's formed over the past 20 years. A Washington, D.C. man with no criminal record has a SWAT team barge into his house. The chemical that was leaking off of that truck, how dangerous is it? It's no secret that there's corruption right here in the state of Illinois, and now this study proves it. Taking part in a new human anatomy course, but it is nothing like you'd expect. Heard Secretary of State John Kerry echo the president, if we don't take a stand, we'll face greater security risks. Find a different location. That's what some community leaders are saying after a Danville clinic applied for a permit to dispense medical marijuana. It's been a real roller coaster, and that roller coaster ride is about ready to take us into a big dip here as we get into early next week.
This is why I hate roller coasters.
Yeah. If you won the lotto, would you, yes or no, buy me a pair of shoes, at least?
No, because I have a feeling, knowing you, they would not be cheap.
The temperature really dropped quickly today. I mean, you were not kidding when you warned us yesterday. I had to go see it for myself.
Yeah.
And I popped my head out the window and I said, looks like a blizzard.
Okay, any comments about the week's weather?
No.
Okay.
Nothing.
No,
I'm
nothing at all.
Yeah,
Nothing at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well,
I've had enough of you this week, Doug.
I guess you have. It's a good thing it's Friday here.
Last year, student loan debt topped at $1 trillion, but what if there was a way for students to stop collecting debt completely? Good evening, I'm Elitsa Bizios.
And I'm Doug Quick.
Thank you, Kim. Senator Farag says the Pay It Forward proposal is modeled after Oregon's free college tuition program, which was created last year. The U.S. Interior Department treated brand new computers like loaves of bread, letting them grow old and stale. Investigators found almost 140 brand new computers never touched, sitting in original boxes at the Interior Department's headquarters in Washington, D.C. The federal government's equipment purchase wins this week's Golden Hammer. So why didn't the Interior Department use those computers? For that information, head to our website and follow the link to the Washington Times. Well, sometimes burglars don't just steal jewelry or money. This week on U of I's campus, someone stole a 7-foot-long bench. The bench is usually located in the Law Building, which is in the 500 block of Pennsylvania Avenue. The bench is valued at $1,000, and it's one in a set of 4 teakwood benches. If you have information on the incident, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers at 373-TIPS. A Washington, D.C. man with no criminal record has a SWAT team barge into his house after his ex-wife makes accusations of him having unregistered firearms. They find no guns, only antique muzzleloader bullets on his desk. And now he's being convicted for attempted possession of unlawful ammunition. As our national correspondent Christine Frizzell tells us, there are concerns that this could be a sign of things to come in America.
Welcome to the weekend.
Yes.
I think the weather's going to shape up to be a much better weekend.
Okay, some good news.
By Sunday.
Some good news finally. It's been a year since a severe weather outbreak produced 75 tornadoes hitting 7 states, including here in Illinois. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Elitsa Bizios. According to the National Weather Service, 8 people died from those tornadoes. In Gifford, an EF3 tornado ripped through the small Champaign County community. Nearly 200 homes or businesses damaged or destroyed. And today, exactly a year later, the recovery process continues. Thank you, Kim. Ehler also says the village has applied for a grant from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Nothing has been rewarded, but he says funding is very likely. And coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, we check in with a couple who we met a year ago whose home was destroyed. See how they're doing today. That story and a whole lot more coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. And turning to first weather, Doug, comparing last year to this year, a drastic difference in temperatures. As we've been talking about throughout the show, today marks the 1-year anniversary of a massive line of tornadoes that swept through the state, destroying hundreds of homes and killing 8 people. One of the hardest hit areas was the town of Washington. Winds up to 190 miles per hour ripped through that area and killed 3 people. WICD News Channel 15's Jordan Abadea is live there now with more on how residents are remembering that day.
I was thinking about making a joke
about the weather, but you can't really joke about it because it's freezing outside, isn't it?
It is incredible, you know.
Highway authorities are teaming up and preparing for the upcoming snow and ice season. After last year's historic winter, they are urging drivers to slow down throughout the state. WICD News Channel 15's Angelica Sanchez live in studio with more. Angelica. Happening now, it's a national effort to end sexual assaults on college campuses. They call it It's on Us. U of I students spoke with us earlier today, sharing how they're raising awareness. WICD News Channel 15's Nate Rogers live in studio. Police warning tonight that attacker is still on the run. Thanks for being here. I'm Elitsa Bizios. Authorities say the woman was assaulted late Friday into Saturday, and tonight the 18-year-old is recovering. ABC News Channel 15's Kim Shine live in the newsroom with more information. Kim. At 5 o'clock, students attending Kenwood Elementary School start class this Wednesday, but they're going to be reporting to a new location and deal with a few other changes as well. ABC News Channel 15's Nate Rogers is live in studio with more. Nate. The city of Urbana is now a designated healthy work site. The city received the bronze level award for the Illinois Healthy Work Site Designation Program. They are one of only 15 organizations across the state to receive this level of recognition. Driving through town, you could see there's still some construction going on, like at the home behind us here. Tornado took this home down, but as you can also see, there's been rebuilding that's been done. And the people of Gifford say that proves they are Gifford strong and that they're moving on with their lives. That, Sunday's church service and luncheon, all helping people move forward. As you'll remember, an EF3 tornado tore through the town on Sunday, November 17, 2013, destroying or damaging about 150 homes and businesses. Today, the message we kept hearing, Gifford is like a family. Many of those family members, about 300 of them, starting off their day Sunday with prayer at St. Paul's Evangelical Lutheran Church, where the feeling there was of togetherness and a time used to reflect.
These jobs not one person can do. It takes a community to come together. So all my council members, all the volunteers from our church, from our town, from outside of our town, that was what, it was neat to see that in times of crisis, Americans still all come together.
Around noon, about 600 people met at Gordyville. That's a place that was a hub of activity right after the tornado and served as their emergency center. The Gifford Recovery Committee and church leaders organizing the pork loin lunch and history of Gifford presentation today. Many there wearing Gifford Strong shirts. One mom sharing with us the importance of Gifford's community bond. Listen.
It just proves that no matter what, your community is your family, and we stick together.
We also heard a lot of thank yous today to the volunteers, saw a lot of smiles, a lot of hugs, people just grateful no lives were lost last November. Reporting in Gifford, I'm Elitsa Bizios. Liz, the sheriff calls the evidence problem a big and serious one. As you can see, this is one of the storage rooms, and it's a problem that's formed over the past 20 years. And while they have space, right now, he says it's piling up and there's no real solution. Welcome to the Sangamon County Sheriff's Evidence Vault, a space few get to step into, a space piled with guns, drugs, clothing, even this lawn ornament turned into a pipe. You name it, they've got it.
The state's attorney's office is short of manpower, and so are we. It takes dedicated people hours and hours to go through literally thousands of pieces of evidence to say that, okay, this piece can be discarded, this piece can be destroyed. But on a yearly basis, we destroy hundreds of items.
But that effort is not enough to keep up with the 20 to 50 new pieces of evidence they collect about once a week.
Especially when you have lots of drugs and guns. You want to make sure that's 100% accounted for. So when you have the property rooms that are just jam-packed, it makes it more and more difficult. This car here was used in a double homicide about 15 years ago.
A car the sheriff's office has to legally keep forever.
Laws have changed, saying that evidence in cases involving homicide and sexual assault have to be kept forever.
Because of this and an abundance of items, the department has no choice but to rent units to store the overflow. The sheriff adds the issue isn't just lack of space, it's manpower. There is now only one evidence detective. Years ago, there were 4.
Here we are faced with this money shortage, and you can see what happens. It's nearly a disaster.
The sheriff's office is operating on about $1.5 million less than they usually do. And unfortunately, right now the storage issue is just one they have to deal with. As far as units, they do have some off-site, and they have about 6 to 8 ready for them depending on what is coming in. Reporting live in Sangamon County, Elitsa Bizios, ABC News Channel 20.
Hey buddy, how you doing, man?
So good, man. How are you?
A laugh, a handshake. Ethan Osofsky and Trooper Brian Scott sharing their hellos just days after Trooper Scott and 3 others lifted a car off of the U of I senior.
All of a sudden you hear the tires screeching, see it turn sideways and heading directly for Ethan.
And I was in sort of like a snow coffin of sorts where I couldn't really move anything. My face was pinned against the bottom of the car.
The car sitting on top of him, he just kept saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
That's when Trooper Scott knew he had to act.
Ethan's friend Michael had a hold of his ankles right here, and he just did the 1, 2, 3 lift, and I just told him, I said, when we lift, you pull. So that's what happened. We lifted, he pulled, and he came right out.
Obviously, I was thankful, and it was, oh my God, I got out from under that car. How I'm alive, like that's a great feeling.
Here's video of Osofsky's injuries just 2 days ago. He says he feels lucky to have escaped with just a few dozen stitches and a bunch of bruises.
In the bottom of my heart.
Osofsky's mom, Karen, meeting Trooper Scott, sharing her thank yous.
So thankful that he's alive and well, and it's thanks to them.
Mr. Carter, who was the driver of the car that hit Ethan, and for another unknown individual, had it not been for their help, we wouldn't have been able to get the car lifted.
Everything after March 25th, 2013 is borrowed time. My wife that I marry, kids that I have, job that I get, life that I live from then on, it's all because of 3 people lifting a car off of me.
Champaign County Fair is officially underway tonight, but it's one of 15 being surveyed this year to see if the state should continue funding. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Elitsa Bizios. Champaign police are still searching for a man suspected of battery. It's an update to a story brought you earlier this week. On July 12th, the woman says a man pulled her skirt down as she was entering her apartment in the 300 block of East Daniel. Then he ran away. Now police have released this composite sketch of the suspect. New Illinois law requires all police departments to provide bulletproof vests for their officers, although many police departments already have vests for their officers, as if taxpayers haven't been burned enough by America's effort to rebuild Afghanistan. Now comes a special inspector general's report that finds as many as 700 buildings constructed for Afghan military forces so shoddy it can easily go up in flames. All right, thank you, Garrett. For more information on how cell phone tracking technology has been used in Illinois, you can find first part of our special report on our website. Just head to WICD15.com and click on Top Stories.
Okay, any comments about the week's weather?
No.
Okay.
Nothing.
No,
I'm
nothing
not,
at all.
Yeah,
Nothing at all. Okay. Well,
I've had enough of you this week, Doug.
I guess you have. It's a good thing it's Friday here.
Find a different location. That's what some community leaders are saying after a Danville clinic applied for a permit to dispense medical marijuana. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Elitsa Bizios. Thank you, Heather. We talked with Danville Mayor Scott Eisenhower about the proposal. He says the council has issues with medical marijuana legislation, and they share much of the same concerns as the Planning and Zoning Commission. Pot found mailed through FedEx. Urbana police say it happened, and tonight they're trying to figure out who sent it. A FedEx worker at the Urbana facility noticed the package was sealed with glue. Back and forth continues. Thank you, Nate. In 2012, the Illinois General Assembly passed a law establishing that a nonprofit hospital has to provide more charity care than it would pay in property taxes each year. Carl says they provided $44 million in charity care in 2013. Taking a look at first weather, Doug, today a lot of sunshine. Thank you, Doug. It could take weeks to determine who Illinois' next state treasurer is going to be, according to state officials. The race between Republican Tom Cross and Democrat Mike Frerichs is still too close to call. Doubling down today in his first visit to Springfield since winning the election, Governor-elect Bruce Rauner reiterates his promise to return state government to the capital city. On Tuesday's election, voters said no to fund a new Central High School and renovate Centennial High School, many putting the blame on the location. Governor-elect Bruce Rauner making it clear today he is against Governor Pat Quinn pushing any legislation in his last 2 months in office, especially on minimum wage. Rauner swept through the capital city today on a thank you tour following Tuesday's election win. In the town of Gifford, there are many stories to tell about triumph, about rebuilding, and now moving forward. A year ago, we met a couple who told us that a strong prayer got them through the moments of the tornado that hit Gifford. We went looking for them to tell their story again a year later. Take a look.
Welcome to our new home.
What do you think a year later?
I think God is good, And I think he's blessed us. I think he's blessed this whole town.
A year ago, we met Ed and Elaine Clare on a day volunteers were at their home helping them pick up the pieces. It was November 17th, 2013, when an EF3 tornado ripped through the town of Gifford. Here's video of what was left of the Clares' home.
This was the closet that they rode out the storm in.
After the tornado passed, the Clares got out of that closet they took refuge in, thankful to be alive.
And ran around the corner to the bedroom, and there was a statue of Jesus with his hands held high. And I thought, we get to stay here a little while longer.
Ed says oftentimes he has flashbacks to the day.
Just out of the clear blue, I start to think about that day. And I think about that we could have lost our lives, but we didn't.
And thankfully, no one lost their life in Gifford on a day that changed so many people's lives. And all the tornado hit about 150 homes or businesses, damaging or destroying them. Now the rebuilding process well underway. For the Clares, it took 4 moves and about 7 months before they could move back into their new home on June 27th. Almost like it used to be, huh?
Almost.
A year later, Elaine says while her new home doesn't feel like the old one just yet, she knows it soon will because of the Gifford community.
It's not the house that makes the home, it's the heart that makes the home. And it's the neighbors and the town that make the home.
It was good to see the Clares again and to see them and many Gifford residents back in their homes. We also talked to reps with Gifford State Bank who tell us of the $860,000 raised for relief efforts. About $250,000 is left, which is going to go to those who are still needing help.
Let's take her outside.
From horses to wagons and carts, Kelly Klein Productions, just outside of Springfield, provided prop after prop for Steven Spielberg's latest movie.
We are the carriage drivers, which are the teams of horses. We have another 6, 7, 8, 10 single horse buggies or wagons that are being used in the background. This is all coordinated to look like a busy city in 1865.
The biopic is based on our 16th president as he guides the Union to victory during the Civil War.
It's the politicians, it's his board, it's his cabinet, it's the legislature, it's him dealing with everything he had to deal with in the spring of '65. This is one of our prop trailers. This particular trailer in the back here, we have all the horse artillery equipment. We use them in the Petersburg sequence, which is the only battle sequence actually that's going to be in this project.
This is Glory, and she's the principal horse in the movie, and when you see her on the big screen, she's going to be wearing a dressing like this, which is authentic to 1865. And throughout the movie, Daniel Day-Lewis, who portrays Abraham Lincoln, rides Glory. She's just one of the 10 horses Dr. Carl Luthen provided. Luthen, a practicing veterinarian who fell into the business of set production, adds the 6 weeks he spent on the movie set in Virginia were nonstop, and he loved every minute of it.
You hope the project, which will eventually become a movie, will be successful and will get some accolades.